What's going on? How are you? I hope well. I hope you're not dead because it's getting rough out there. I think. I actually have no idea. I haven't left my apartment in a while. But that's par for the course. You know what? I do have to leave my apartment. I have to venture outside on Friday. This is going to be a big deal. So I ordered the new iPhone 12. And I don't know why I did that. I do know why I did it a little bit. I have an iPhone 7 Plus. Yeah, don't be jealous. I don't mean to brag, but it's 12 years old. And it has served me so well. I've dropped it numerous times. Thank goodness the glass has only broken like a little tiny bit twice. And I got it fixed, for like $100 or whatever. One time I think Apple even did it for free. I don't know if they thought I had Apple Care. Maybe I did have Apple Care and didn't even realize it. But I've broken that phone so many times. Twice. But I love it because it's got this shiny jet black. It's like a piano black. It's like a Steinway in my pocket. Is that a Steinway in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? No, it's just my keys. That's what you call first level joke. Usually those are throwaway, but sometimes you just throw it out there and see what happens. But anyway, Steinway in my pocket, and I am happy to see you guys, by the way. But so I ordered the new iPhone 12. I got a Pro. So here's how the whole thing. And I don't know why I did this. I kind of do. My iPhone 7 Plus right now. I was in Maine taking pictures out on the rocks on the coast, and I thought I would do something a little bit different and put my phone. Normally it's in my pocket where it's safe. Nothing can harm it. It irradiates my sensitive areas, but that's intentional. Don't want to have kids, so that helps, keeps things in check. But I did something different, and instead of putting my phone in my pocket, I put it in my shirt pocket, my chest pocket. If you listen to the last episode, you know that I recently got really into LLB. And by really into, I mean I bought one shirt. But so I had my brand new LLB shirt on, because I wore it the entire week. And I put it in the chest pocket. I'm like, this is a great use of a chest pocket. I have two pockets. I can put things in one. They're not just for looks. And then I zipped up. I had like a vest on top of that because it was a little chilly. And I sat down. I'm out on location on the rocks and everything. I set down my photography bag, my backpack, and set up my tripod. And then I lean over. I bend over to pick something up, and the phone goes slip-de-doo. And you know that noise when an iPhone drops on the ground. Well, this was worse because this is the sound of an iPhone dropping on rocks. Not little tiny rocks like on the beach. These were giant boulders, that you can climb on and around. Huge, like 40 feet in diameter type rocks. And that's a different noise. It is a painful noise. Even if you don't own an iPhone, you've heard it. You've heard somebody drop their phone on the pavement, which is incidentally, that's the only other time where I've dropped my iPhone. It was the 7 Plus, same exact phone. I was getting out of a cab. I had stupidly done something different there too and set the phone down on my lap, again, to irradiate my sensitive areas, and threw open the cab door. We were stopped. Got out, and my phone slid across the entire street, and the glass was shattered. But it was fun. It was worth it. That's when I got it fixed. Anyway, so dropped it on location. It just broke in one tiny spot, where it kind of gets that radial crack, like a little spider web on the screen. And I didn't want to fix it because I knew the new phone was coming out. But here's the trick. The phone works. Volume buttons work. What doesn't work is the phone part. So now instead of a smartphone, I just have a smart. It's weird. The phone, it's like the device, like works. I can browse the internet. I can do Safari, email, whatever. I can do things on it. I just can't talk to anybody with it. It's basically an introvert's phone. If you're an introvert and would like to convert your iPhone into an introvert phone, all you have to do is drop it very hard onto rocks, large rocks, not small rocks, boulders. You want to damage it just enough in a very specific part where most of the phone works, just that one feature doesn't. I can receive a phone call, like I can tell somebody's trying to call me, but I just can't, and I can pick up, but then they can't hear me, I can't hear them. It's really is an introvert's dream. It's nobody can talk to you, nobody can contact you. You're just all by yourself, but you still have the things that you need to do whatever you want to do, whatever introverts do. Probably rock back and forth. I don't know. Yeah, so that's the status of my phone right now. I do have an Apple Watch that I can actually receive phone calls on. So if anybody has talked to me, well, actually, considering that my mom is the only listener of this podcast, Mom, when you have talked to me in the past week or two, it has been through my watch and my headphones. So that's my workaround, is I can still receive a call here. I just can't receive it on my phone. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, I ordered the phone, and I think it was a mistake because this phone is so advanced. I'm not going to use 98% of what this phone, I'm not going to use 99% of what this phone can do. Here's what I need it to do. I need to load an app for my camera that automatically connects to my camera when I'm out taking pictures, and then it tags the photos automatically with the GPS coordinates, just because I like that. I need to use the occasional phone call. You use it for an occasional phone call. And that's pretty much it. I think those are the only two use cases. Oh, you know what? I do actually, there's another app on my phone that I like called Photo Pills, and it helps me figure out, sunset, sunrise times, that kind of, again, but it's more for taking pretty pictures. I just want to find out when the nice light is at a certain location at a certain time. 3 use cases for a new phone. And this phone does a lot more than that. It's got I don't know what augmented reality, I do know what augmented reality is. I don't know what people are using it for. Why do you want to see things in the world that aren't there? I think on the iPhone video, because I watched the streaming thing that Apple did just because I wanted to see what was new. And I think it's on the website or whatever, and it's telling you all about AR. And it's like, so this has got a better AR because it's got the LiDAR sensor, which shoots out photons, and then it's able to map a room even in the dark, so that if you have an app that shows you grass growing in your home, it'll only grow on the floor and not the walls. I don't need to see grass growing in my apartment. I don't care what that looks like. I've never thought, boy, you know what would be really cool? If I could see what virtual reality, augmented reality grass looks like in my apartment. Never once thought that. I've never even come close. I've never thought, you know what would be really cool? I'd love to see a dinosaur walk around the apartment, but not jump on the couch or the chair. I've never thought that. So basically AR, I think that's one thing I'm not going to use. The LiDAR sensor, no thank you. It comes with a feature called Dolby Vision. This actually, I got really into looking this up. It sounds really cool. And Dolby Vision essentially is like a high dynamic range workflow for shooting videos. This is something like pro movies do. They shoot the movie, then they add in the Dolby Vision, and basically makes colors more colorful. That's all it does. It makes colors more colorful. What am I going to do with that? It's not like I'm Werner Herzog out there. Excuse me, I need to shoot the film. An action. Oh, wait. I'm getting a phone call. Hello. No. Nope, I'm not Werner Herzog. That was a terrible Werner Herzog impression, by the way. But I'm not Werner Herzog. I'm not out shooting movies with my phone. What are people doing with this stuff? Dolby Vision. It sounds I got really into it. Believe me, I actually looked up on the Apple website. I was like, tell me all about Dolby Vision. I want to learn. And I looked up Dolby Vision. I Googled it. I went to Dolby, checked out the Vision. I watched a couple of trailers of movies that incorporate Dolby Vision. I don't know why. I have no interest in it, except other than just to learn. It's cool, and my new phone will have it. I will never use it. What I really should have done is gotten the iPhone SE, the cheap one. And I'm still thinking about it. I don't know. If anything, the thing that I like about the new iPhone, the 12, the Pro, is the color. Color choices are pretty cool. You know why? Because it's blue. It's a dark blue, and that's sexy. That's the reason I'm spending twice the amount of money on a phone, 3 times the amount of money, when I could get a cheaper iPhone SE. That's it. Oh, it does have 5G, but I'm not going to use that. I don't leave my apartment anyway. I don't need to download things 25% faster or 25 times. I don't know what the number is. I don't need to download stuff faster. What am I doing? I'm not out watching movies on the fly. I'm not shooting movies and then downloading movies. What are people doing with this stuff? 5G. Come on. Here's what I want the number of G's necessary so that I can always browse the internet, or I can look up a menu at a restaurant when they're doing the hands-free thing. That's all I want. I want to be able to use maps to figure out, once COVID's over, what what train I can take to get around town to get to a certain location. That's all I want to know. And I don't need 5Gs. 4Gs is fine by me. 3 was a little slow, if I remember correctly. And then the Edge or whatever before that, why even bother? We shouldn't have had phones until now. Because 4G is the amount of Gs necessary to be able to use a phone, I think. But yeah, I'm getting a new phone on Friday. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to be so happy about it. And I can even recycle my old iPhone 7 Plus. Had I not dropped it, I would have been able to turn it into Apple for $140 credit, which surprises me because the phone I don't know, it's 5 years old, 4 years old. I'm actually the third person to use it. I think my dad used it first, then gave it to my wife. I don't know why he didn't give it to me, but I guess he's got his favorites. And then my wife gave it to me. I'm her favorite. That was pretty cool. Yeah, iPhone friggin' 12 coming up. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't. The problem is I don't have like a system to make this decision. I thought I did. I just need a phone to do the little GPS thing and a couple of apps that don't require any horsepower whatsoever. And instead, I got sucked in to the Apple video, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing that's ever been made ever. I watched the video, and I'm like, when can I buy it? And then they tell you right at the end, you can buy it in a few days. I set a calendar appointment. I set my alarm. I woke up, and I wanted to pre-order the phone, and I did. And except I took a little longer to pre-order it, so instead of getting it shipped to me to arrive on Friday, now I have to go pick it up, which is fine because it's only like a mile away, and I haven't gone to the gym in a few days, and I could do that. I say a few days. It's been a week or two. I say a week or two. It's been since March. But yeah, ordered the new iPhone. So I'm going to get it. It's going to be great. Went to the cleaners recently because I took out my fall winter clothing collection and put away my spring summer winter clothing collection. I say clothing collection. I don't really mean clothing collection because that makes it sound a little hipper than it is. And it's not. It's basically like sweaters and coats and t-shirts and polos and stuff. Although I'm wearing a polo right now because apparently I forgot to put it away. But yeah, that's so I went to the cleaners because all the stuff when it sits in the Rubbermaid Roughneck things. But this is not sponsored by Rubbermaid or Roughneck. I think that's the same thing. One's a brand. I don't know. Whatever. It's not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by them. But I just wanted to be specific and tell you exactly what I was using. It's a Rubbermaid Roughneck. Anyway, so I was using the Roughneck, and everything stinks inside when it sits inside the plastic for 6 months or whatever. It smells. Not like dank stuff. I washed it beforehand, but it kind of smells, like plastic. It's weird. Anyway, so I had a bunch of, shirts that I needed pressed and washed and everything. So I took it to the cleaners. And why? Every time I go to the cleaners, it's like a negotiation. And I don't understand this. Every time I drop it off, they always say, hey, is Thursday okay? How about Tuesday? No, can do. We can do Wednesday. Final offer. All right, fine. Do Wednesday. Why don't you just tell me Wednesday? Just start with that. Why does it have to be, why negotiation? Do you get extra points if you say, hey, is Thursday okay? And someone says, yeah. What does it matter? Just get it done when you get it done. Just tell me. Don't even ask the question. Just say, these will be done on Thursday. Then I can plan around that. But then when you ask the whole question, then it opens it up for me like, well, I don't know. Is Thursday okay? Under what circumstances would Thursday be not okay? And then just because I like negotiating, apparently I don't like saying it correctly. Just because I enjoy that, then I'm going to ask, I don't know, can you do Tuesday? And then they come back with Wednesday. I don't know. Why are we compromising here? Just wash it and tell me when to pick it up. That's your only job. Although it is kind of fun. Then I have more material to talk about on the podcast. And why that I don't understand. So cleaners, we negotiate every single time. I do, at least. And it's the same negotiation. It's, hey, is Thursday okay? I don't know. Can you do it Wednesday? Can you do it right now? And then they come back with, I'm sorry, can you do it Tuesday? Can you do it right now? No, we can do Wednesday. Every single time. It's why we bracket it and then we compromise. Why don't we just have this arrangement where you just tell me exactly when you get it done, and then I'm going to go, wow, that's going to take a long time. But you know what? I appreciate you trying. But yeah, I don't know why we negotiate at the cleaners. I don't know why we negotiate for cars. Here's how I bought a car once, leased a car. I knew exactly which car I wanted, but we still had to spend the 2 hours checking out the car with the salesman. And then I said, how much is it? He said, it's this much. And I said, sounds great. That's how we bought a car. We bought 2 cars that way. This was ages ago, before New York, when we didn't spend all of our money on an apartment instead of, and we could spend it on a car, 2 cars, and we could go places with the car. But yeah, that's how I bought the car. How much is it? It's this much. Great. Want to tack on a little bit extra for yourself? And where do I sign? Actually, it was, I think that was right before we moved to New York, the second time, or no, maybe it was Chicago. I can't remember now, but it was like a 3 or 4 year lease. I don't know how long typical car leases are, and I don't care. I think 3 years. It was a 3-year lease, and we turned it in after a year. And I'm like, well, this is great. We don't have to pay more. And they were like, actually, you do. You pay us. You have to pay more now. So we could have kept the cars, and it would have been cheaper, I think. But yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so that's why are cars negotiated? That's why, like, if I ever bought a car and could afford it, it would be a Tesla, because they say the price, and then that's what you pay. This is also not sponsored by Tesla, but it could be. Tesla, if you're out there, Elon Musk, hey, if you want my mom to listen to an ad of yours, I'm happy to plug you guys. But yeah, that just makes sense to me. They cut out the stupid dealership model. You just buy it. You buy the car. It's like buying a bag of oats. Although I don't think I've ever purchased a bag of oats. They always come in those big tubes. And why I'm feeling horsey now, but yeah. That's it. Cleaners are a negotiation, stupid. Cars are a negotiation, stupid. There's probably somebody out there like, Anthony LaDon's Pote podcast, stupid. Fair enough. Touche. I just don't understand it. If there were a good reason, I would listen. But as of now, I can't even think of a reason why the cleaners and cars negotiate. Houses, I understand, because that's a person to person. I'm selling something and it's kind of big, and I want to get if I'm selling this thing, I want to get the most money out of you as I possibly can. but I also want to sell it. And, that's where the fun comes in. But it's not like we're buying, food or a camera or something, stuff, which has a price. You can't really haggle if you go to Best Buy. Yeah, that's going to be $42.99. Can you do $28.99? No, it's going to be $42.99. Okay. That never works every time I try it. Maybe I should go somewhere else other than Best Buy. What else are we talking about? Oh, fall is kind of here. Okay, I know it's kind of been coming and going for a little while, and I got super excited about it maybe a few weeks ago when I saw the temperatures dipping, but now, actually, they're not dipping today even. I think the temperature right now is like 66 degrees, which is ridiculous. I want it to be chilly. When is the chill going to come? It's been here. It kind of was teasing a little bit. It was friendly. It's kind of getting out there. We had a couple of days where it's like down in the 40s at night. But then it popped back up to the mid 50s, then a couple of days in mid 60s. I think we've got a 70-degree day coming up here pretty soon. I would just like to, can we all just cut it off? Can we say, weather-wise, this is when fall starts? I know we do that. I know we have a day. But it'd be nice if the weather complied. We've managed to warm up the earth significantly. Why can't we warm it at specific times only? That'd be nice. Cool it down for a couple of months, then warm it back up to thaw things out. I think that'd be great. So that's, fall's here. Oh, so I'm starting to cook more fall things. Everything's involving sage and brown butter now. If you guys like food, check out my website, anthonyledon.com. You can click on the recipes tab or, nav item, and I've got a bunch of new recipes up there. I cooked beet risotto in a bag. I did the sous vide, and it's pretty cool. If you've never cooked sous vide before, this one's pretty easy to do. And sous vide just means, it means cooking stuff in a water bath. So like you put whatever you want to cook inside of a plastic bag, and then you put that plastic bag in a tub of water, and you set that water to a very specific temperature with a device that measures the temperature and then heats it up until you get to that temperature and then stops. But it, circulates it all around. Anyway, it's called an immersion circulator. If you don't have one already, get one, especially it's super fun. Normally I use it for like steaks, any kind of meat, because then you just cook that piece of meat specifically all the way to that temperature. It's basically like having a steak that's medium rare all the way through from top to bottom and side to side. And then, you sear it off at the end just to give it the nice flavor. But anyway, I was on chefsteps.com. If you haven't checked them out, great website for food inspiration, great recipes, great techniques. Love them. They do have like a it's a subscription for part of it, I think, but it's like $35 a year or maybe $60 a year. I don't know. So it's some amount of dollars per year, but it's phenomenal because they're really high quality videos, pictures. It's basically like instead of searching around the internet for stupid recipes from janky websites, you can go to one place, you pay a little bit of money, but it's phenomenal. Anyway, I tried their sous vide risotto, and it was actually pretty darn good. I used beet juice in there as well because I had some left over from making cocktails. But if you, I love making risotto. I love the ritual of it, the fact that it's very meditative, standing over a pot, just stirring for 30 minutes. And it's nice because you can sip some wine, cocktails with somebody else, and it's a great date night dinner, cooking in, because then you're both around the kitchen, and it's really nice. Anyway, but if you're just cooking risotto for yourself, which is what I did when I had this, just throw it in a bag, throw it in a Ziploc bag. It's a 3-to-1 if you care. If you don't want to look at the recipe on my website, it's a 3-to-1 liquid to rice by weight. Throw in some salt and some butter and cheese. And that's it. You cook it for like 30 minutes, mix it all up, done. And it was phenomenal. I used turkey broth and beet juice because I mentioned, I think, last week that I broke down a turkey, and I've been working my way through using up all of its goodness. But yeah, beet risotto. Check it out. It's a great recipe. It's basically the Chef Steps recipe, but I switched it around a little bit just for my taste preferences and my kind of process. but it's really good. I would check it out. If you don't, also I have other recipes on the website in case you've never looked me up. There's like, I do a lot of pastas, a bunch of sage recipe or a bunch of sage. What am I trying to say, Anthony? Get this right. I'm not very good at the self promotion, so I'll say it again. There's been some sage pasta recipes I think I put up there. Yeah, I'll get some more stuff going. There's a bunch. You can look it up. I've been posting recipes for a few years, and people seem to like it. All right, what else we got here? You know, oh, here's one thing I'm going to miss this fall, and that is seeing horses in New York City. I'm going to miss seeing horse. I used to I liked seeing the horse and carriage in New York City. Not just, so if you don't know, even if you do know, you can still listen. But if you don't know, there's horse and carriage rides that you can get in Central Park. And in addition to seeing them in Central Park, you can also see them on the west side. Like, I think they go up 11th. Because I basically live on their path where they go from the stables up to Central Park. And it's about, it's a mile and a half. It's a little jog. I think it gets them all warmed up. And I used to love seeing those guys. It's like watching an animal go to work for the day. Because in the morning they would leave the stables and you'd see this like fleet of horse-drawn carriages trek up 11th on their way up to Central Park. And I loved the ridiculousness of seeing horses in New York. Why do we still have horses and carriages in New York? What part of cars do people not like? We have the car, but yet we still love this old-timey thing. Maybe it's just this fact that it's slower, that it's a little bit faster than walking around Central Park and a lot easier. And they give you blankets and everything. It actually sounds kind of nice. But I don't know about you, every time you see people in the horse-drawn carriage around Central Park, one person always looks really happy, and the other person looks like they've been duped. That's it. Somebody looks very happy, and usually he looks like he knows that he got tricked into doing this. And he knows what he looks like, too. He's the one kind of covering under the blanket a little bit, in that little blanket of shame. Like, yes, I know, it's a horse. I don't know why we're doing this. She really wanted to. I imagine. That's the way it always looks to me. I don't know, maybe I want to do it. Maybe I'll drag Lauren. Maybe she's the one that's going to... And you know what? I think she would be the one... Actually, I don't know. We both might be into it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we could get into this. Maybe I do understand. But either way, I do miss... I'm pouring a glass of water here. It's not as bad as it sounds. But I do miss seeing the horses. That little bit of ridiculousness. We have skyscrapers all around, beautiful buildings made of glass. And then clop, 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 clop. It was always... I loved... the contrast, high-tech horse hooves. It was so great. So I'm going to miss seeing those guys because I don't know if they're giving rides. I don't know if you can in the pandemic. I'm going to miss seeing them. I'm going to miss seeing them go to work and then come home. 11th Avenue used to be strewn with horse poop occasionally. Did they go up 10th? Maybe I'm wrong. Which one goes? Yeah, 10th. I'm sorry, it's 10th. They go up 10th. Because 10 odds go up, evens go up, odds go down. Okay, that's my little. I think that's right. The mnemonic itself could be wrong, but yeah, 10th Ave. They used to see them going to work and then coming home. It was great. All sweaty, dropping poop on their way. It was fun. I'm gonna miss seeing horses in New York, the greatest city in the world. You ever notice how it's mostly... you ever notice how it's only New Yorkers saying that? I don't think I've ever heard, like, a Frenchman say New York is the greatest city in the world. New York is the greatest city in the world. Paris is dump, shithole. I don't know. That's how every Parisian sounds to me. You know, smoking a cigarette. Oh, is that what that sound was, Anthony? Your terrible French accent. I couldn't understand if that was him just blowing air or smoking. Yeah, it was a cigarette. But yeah, it's only New Yorkers saying that. But when you say it, I think with enough confidence, when you say anything with enough confidence, people kind of just believe it, I think. Or they don't question it, at least. That's how you get elected. I think that's the politician's MO. Say it with enough confidence, and they'll believe it. And actually, no, and it's not like any other city is challenging New York for that status of greatest city in the world, you know? Like how many songs has Jay-Z written about Reno? Hey, did you catch Billy Joel's latest hit? Cincinnati's State of Mind. No. Nobody else. Nobody's challenging. But New York, I don't know. Did we just see a gap and we're like, we're who's the greatest city in the world? We're the greatest city in the world. It's almost like we say it so much that it's like we're trying to remind ourselves that we're the greatest city in the world. Oh yeah, New York, the greatest city in the world. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's almost like we're going to get groceries and we just don't want to forget the list. Let's see, eggs, milk, we're the greatest city in the world. Yeah, okay, I think I remember. Yeah, I got it. I got this. I mean, to be clear, it is the greatest city in the world. There's no question about that. But I wanted to at least put it on trial a little bit because it's got to earn the title. I think it's the greatest city in the world, and we've talked about this. I think in every other episode at least, I talk about this. So maybe I won't. Maybe I won't go any farther in depth on this, but it's kind of fun. Greatest city. I think I was watching a Letterman rerun, obviously rerun, but a clip from Letterman from years ago, and it was like live from New York, or it wasn't live from New York. Whatever the line is, the announcer was like, "New York, the greatest city in the world," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's true." Yeah, I can't think of. No, I don't know how many people that say like, "Oh, you know what? I can't wait to get back to Columbus." Oh God, I had such great times in Columbus. Ironically, Lauren and I have had great times in Columbus. I do enjoy the city. We were there, I think, over the holidays one year, and they have a nice little park decked out with Christmas lights. But it's not like I'm going to go out of my way, on vacation or something. I'm like, you know what, babe? Can I take you on a surprise weekend getaway to Columbus? No, why would I go there? I'd go to Akron instead. There's a great Sheridan in Akron. Another more fun memories. Apparently, we're only going to Ohio. That's if it's not in Ohio, it doesn't stand a chance of competing with New York for the title of greatest city in the world. I'd like to know, what do you think? What is the greatest city in the world? Send an email to potpodcast@gmail.com, POAT podcast at gmail.com. Do I need to spell podcast? You understand that, right? PODCAST at gmail. Potpodcast at gmail. Tell me, what's your favorite? What do you think is the greatest city in the world? Or if you think New York is the greatest city in the world, I'm curious why. Or why not? Let's make this a discussion that I'm not going to answer. I might respond. There's been a couple people I've responded to. Thank you so much for emailing me, Mom. Somebody asked what my biggest regret is or was. Yeah, I guess it's still a regret. And I don't have a ton. I mean, there's things I could have done better. I could have done everything a little bit better. And I'm not saying this in like the past tense, like, well, it's been nice and I'm on my way out. So just doing a little bit of reflection. But, this is like a mid-year review. Although I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't know if this is a mid-year review. It's a review. It's quarterly. Oh, that means I'm going to live to, 120 something. Whew, that's a long time. I don't know if I wanted that long. Anyway, okay. But my one regret, I regret not saying thank you to my piano teacher when I was a kid. But actually both of them. I had two piano teachers. Mrs. Quigley got me started. She was phenomenal. Nice lady, lived a few blocks away, and I'd go, ride my bike down, and just you go through the back door, and I'd have piano lessons. It was phenomenal. And she did mostly classical. She was basically my grade school of piano education. I think I studied with her for 4 years, got me going, and then I was like, well, I'd like to play jazz, and she's like, well, I can get you started there, but I have a couple of recommendations. So I ended up switching, and here's the regret. Well, I was a kid. I should have still said thank you. You've been instrumental in my development as a human being. But I don't know if I had the wherewithal back then to say that. My bigger regret, though, is not saying thank you to my second instructor, Tim Strong. He was in Federal Way, Washington. Hopefully still is. Great guy. But I remember it was almost like a breakup without closure, because I studied with him for, 7 years. And I remember him getting after me once when I didn't practice as much as I should, or as I should have. And, which was probably every week. But in this one particular case, we were working on a piece or something, and I can't remember what the exact issue was, but I wasn't where I should have been. And he said, well, why aren't you practicing as much? And I'm like, well, I'm busy doing these other things. And I remember he told me, you need to make a list of what's important to you, and that should only have 5 things on it. And he's like, depending on who you are, that could include your religion or your family or whatever it is. And if studying piano isn't in the top 5, and ideally in the top 3, we should probably go our separate ways. And I told him, yeah, I know for sure it's in the top 5. I don't even know if I made the list, which was not good. I should have, but I learned things from him. I learned things from him from a life perspective, but also from studying piano. And he was so great because he got me actually. He rekindled my love of classical music, because for a while I only did classical, kind of building a repertoire, and then I did jazz piano for a number of years. And but he always pressured me to always study classical music, and I appreciate that, because then you get much stronger technique and a more solid foundation. I think just making your fingers move. You can get away with a little bit. I think you can get away with a little bit in intermediate jazz piano, but the technique, the precision of classical music was so cool, and he made it seem cool. But I think there came a time, I think I was graduating high school, or things were getting busy. I don't remember what it was, but I remember the final time we got together, and I think it was basically so yeah, I think this is going to be my last lesson. And he just said, okay. And then I was like, I think I may have said thank you. I hope I did. Good God. And then that was it. And it's not like we communicated via email or anything. It was basically, I saw him every week, and that was it. We'd hang out for an hour, jam. I always felt lucky because I got to play on a Steinway in his living room, which is pretty sweet. And he got to, he used his keyboard. But yeah, man, if I replay that moment in my head over and over, it almost makes me cry. I wish I could have said, thank you. You've been instrumental in my development, both as a young musician, and then also I think as a person, because the dedication to studying was not something that I had. I did not study much in high school, and I did, but probably not as much as I should have. I think there's a theme going on here. But anyway, that's my biggest regret. I can't remember who asked that. Somebody emailed me and asked that question. So Tim, if you are, or Mr. Strong, if you are out there and you're the third listener besides me and my mother, thanks. You meant the world to me. I appreciate it. He's probably like, who is this kid? Well, yeah, that was my biggest regret ever. Man. What else are we talking about here? What else is going on? Fall. what am I working on? Oh, doing Zoom. We're doing more. I'm going to start that sentence over again because I'm having trouble speaking. We're doing Zoom comedy shows. Comedians are doing Zoom comedy shows. We're still doing them for the foreseeable future. This is how things are going. And I would actually encourage you to attend one. A lot of them are free because the demand for comedy, the demand for jokes is less than the demand for comedians to perform. We want to perform more, of a certain level. Those of us who haven't really broken yet are, I think we need to get out there and tell jokes. And this is one way to do them, is these Zoom comedy shows. But if you check out my website, anthonyledon.com, there's shows, click on shows. There's a list up there, at least the ones that I'm doing. And they're fun. They're actually getting better, I think. I'm not, but the shows are. And people are laughing more. They're getting kind of used to it. You don't see as many people like laying down in bed. They're actually sitting up. They have a couple of friends around. It's actually been kind of fun. If you haven't checked one out, check out my website. I've got a couple listed there. And if you sign up for my newsletter, I know that the links aren't on the website yet. It's just more of a when I'm performing or hosting. But if you could either check back regularly and I'll update it with the links as soon as they become available, because they're all via Zoom and you just put in your email address or whatever and you can log on. But I will update it as soon as I can, or you can sign up for my newsletter, which is just on my homepage, anthonyledon.com, and I'll send out less than once a week updates, and the Zoom shows will be there. I'm working on getting the links for people earlier so they can kind of plan ahead. But some of the people are actually having fun. Like it's fun to look out there and see smiling faces, because most of people's Zoom chats are just status updates. But this is fun. And as a comedian, it's so nice when you actually, it's rare, but it's nice when you write something down and see it translated to a few smiles on people's faces out there in the Zoom land. We did a Q&A after one of the shows last week, and I think one of the audience members was asking, like, is it hard performing on Zoom versus in a club? And it's more difficult. But I think there's a couple comics, another comic and Liz Barrett actually, who's hilarious. You should check her out. I think her website's lizbarrett.com. If it's just LIZBARRETT. She's hilarious. But she and I both shared the sentiment that it may not be ideal, but it's still so much fun to see something you've written put a smile on somebody's face. And that's so great. That's why we do this. I think that's why I'm doing it. But yeah, doing more Zoom comedy shows, they're still fun. If you're a comic, by the way, if you're a comedian and aren't doing them, you should. And if you're, I put together a little article on my website for people who are trying to up their Zoom comedy game, and not from the writing jokes perspective, because you'd be better off asking a chipmunk or some sort of animal. I don't know why I picked a chipmunk, but you ask a dog. They're funnier than me. That was where I was going with this. And that's not even that funny. So you can tell now, you should not look to me for comedy, for joke writing advice. But I tried to put together an article talking about how to up your Zoom game. If you want to get a better camera or lighting. Actually, those are the two main things: camera, lighting, and sound. I bring the lights and camera. No, we're not going to even lights, camera, action. I'm not going to say that. But yeah, check it out. I realize there's other video guides out there, but I tried to put together some sort of guide to help other comedians get better at Zoom. Because if you use your phone or your computer camera, it looks kind of janky. And we all understand, you got to start somewhere. But if you are looking to take it up a level, check out my website. Or just email me at potepodcast, because it's on my website in the blog section, but I don't know if it's super easy to get to. I got to make sure. I'll make sure it's easy to get to by the time you listen to this. What else can I tell you? Zoom comedy. Should we end it here? I think this is good. Got a few minutes here. Thanks so much for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, questions. Oh, I already said questions. Damn it, Anthony. Questions, comments, concerns, quests, any Q words, that hard K, W, or QU sound. Any of those things. I ran out of words. Well, maybe I'll just delete that whole section because that's stupid. Email me, potpodcast@gmail.com, POAT podcast@gmail.com. Be sure to like and subscribe. Can you like it? You can like it. I don't know if you can like it. Can you like it in Spotify? I don't know. Wherever you're listening to this, subscribe. Consider subscribing. If you've already listened this long, you're going to be missing out on future episodes. You've already missed out on all the past ones, although I guess you can just listen to those right after this. What else? And consider leaving a review if it's 5 stars. I'd appreciate it. What else? I guess that's it. I always want to, I still don't know how to end these. I'd love to keep talking, come up with more. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do a quick plug for this book. It's, I picked up, actually it was a gift. It's Jerry Seinfeld's Is This Anything? And I would highly recommend it. It was a gift to me from Jason Chatfield for my birthday. Jason, you may have remembered, was on an episode a few episodes back. And he pre-ordered it for my birthday, and then it came, and it's phenomenal. But it's a great book, especially if you're into comedy. If you write or perform, if you're a comedian, basically, or even if you just think you're funny and want to see how another creative, if you think you're creative and you want to see how another creative writes, I would highly recommend the book. It's basically all of Jerry's material from like the 70s to now, up through the teens. And there's even some Corona material in here. But anyway, the point is, I find it, even if you don't think he's funny, if he's not your favorite comedian in the world, I think it's really cool to see the words on the page, especially if you know the bits and jokes in real life. Like if you've seen them on, live or YouTube or late night or whatever. It's cool. So anyway, check it out if you haven't already. Highly recommend. And, it's pretty funny. Okay, now I'm going to end this thing. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. This has been so nice. Thank you for inviting me into your ears. Stay safe and don't die.